What's up, everyone, and welcome to NFL Nexus. Well, Wild Card Weekend was just pure, uncut chaos, wasn't it? I mean, we saw Super Bowl contenders fall flat on their faces, we saw massive underdogs completely shock the world, and the entire playoff bracket got tossed into a blender. But while that hurricane was tearing through the league, one team was just kicking back, relaxing, and watching it all unfold from a serious position of power. In today's Deep Dive Explainer, we're going to break down exactly why the Seattle Seahawks aren't just another contender. We're going to map out their surprisingly clear and maybe, just maybe, an inevitable path to hoisting that Lombardi trophy. So, after everything we just saw, all the upsets, all the games that came down to the final play, you have to ask yourself the biggest question of all. Who is the real favorite left standing? Is it one of the teams that just clawed their way through a brutal, physical, and emotionally draining 60-minute war? Or is it the one team that didn't have to break a sweat? The team that earned the right to just sit on their couches and watch all of their future opponents beat the tar out of each other? Yeah, that's where Seattle's massive advantage begins, before they've even played a single down of playoff football. So here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to quickly touch on that wild card chaos that just completely reshuffled the deck. Then, we'll look at why Seattle is sitting so pretty right at the top of the NFC. After that, we are going deep, and I mean deep, into the massive rivalry rematch that stands in their way. And finally, we'll look ahead and map out what could be a clear path to glory. Let's do this. All right, let's really set the table here by looking back at the weekend that just flipped the entire postseason upside down. I'm telling you, the wildcard round wasn't just football. It was pure, unadulterated drama. We saw a reigning champ get knocked out. We saw other so-called favorites push right to the edge, and a whole new power structure was built in the NFC. And pretty much all of it benefits Seattle. Seriously, this wasn't just your average opening round of the playoffs. This was one for the ages. We had the Green Bay Packers, a team that looked unstoppable, nearly have a complete meltdown and blow a huge lead in the second half. We watched the Los Angeles Rams, another team everyone had pegged as a juggernaut, barely, and I mean barely, survive a massive scare from the Carolina Panthers at home. And then, of course, the biggest shocker of them all, the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, sent packing, gone. This level of insanity, this total unpredictability, is the exact reason why Seattle's calm, rested, and stable position is so incredibly valuable right now. So, while every other contender in the NFC was in a dogfight for their playoff lives, where were the Seahawks? They were resting up. They were letting key players heal. They were in the film room, drawing up game plans. They were literally watching the chaos unfold from the comfort of their couches, a luxury they earned by locking down that all-important number one seed and the first-round bye that comes with it. They are the calm right in the eye of the hurricane. And let's be crystal clear about where the center of the NFL universe is right now. It's the NFC West. It's not even a debate. Just think about this. Of the final 8 teams left in the entire playoff field, 3 of them are from this one single brutal division. That's not just a fluke. That is a testament to the absolute gauntlet that Seattle had to fight through just to get here. They are battle-tested in a way that no other top seed can even pretend to be. Iron sharpens iron, right? And who's sitting at the very peak of that powerhouse division, and the entire conference for that matter? Yep, the Seattle Seahawks. That week of rest did absolutely nothing to change their status in the eyes of the experts. They are still locked in, undisputed at number 1 in Sportsnaut's latest NFL Power Rankings. This isn't just a fan theory, this is the expert consensus. They are the team to beat, period. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The analysis from the pros backs it up completely. This quote from Sportsnaut really hits the nail on the head. After a weekend that pushed every other team to its breaking point, the Seahawks, just by resting and watching the chaos unfold, came out looking even stronger than they did when the playoffs started. They just flat out look like the best, most complete, and most well-positioned team left in the NFC. Now, this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Momentum. Because we all know, in the playoffs, it's not about who was best in September. It's about who's the hottest team right now in January. And while the Rams, who on paper are their biggest threat, have been stumbling all over the place, losing 3 of their last 6 games, the Seahawks are a runaway freight train. They have ripped off 7 straight wins to close out the season. That's not just a winning streak, people. That's a team hitting its absolute peak, firing on every single cylinder at the perfect time. Okay, so all of this momentum, this great health, this perfect positioning, it all leads to one place, a massive, heavyweight showdown with a division rival. Their first true test of the postseason is going to be round 3 against their most bitter enemy, the San Francisco 49ers. You can throw the records out the window, you can forget the seeding for a minute. This game is for pride, it's for bragging rights, and it's for a ticket to the NFC Championship. This is the rubber match, folks. The decider. These two teams know each other inside and out. Every play, every tendency, every player. They split the season series 1-1, with each team winning on their home field. But here's the little detail that is actually a huge deal. Seattle won the game that mattered most. Just a few weeks ago, in Week 18, they went on the road into that hostile environment and snatched the NFC West crown right out of the 49ers' hands. That's not just a win, that's a massive psychological uppercut heading into this third and final battle. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the X's and O's of this matchup, because when you put it on paper, it looks almost unfair. In Seattle's corner, you have their core strengths firing on all cylinders. The league's #1 scoring defense, a unit that is just suffocating people. You've got a punishing ground game that just grinds down the clock, and maybe most importantly, they are getting healthy. Now line that up against a 49ers team that is absolutely crippled by devastating injuries, has a run defense that's been exposed, and is scrambling to find anyone who can reliably catch the football. It's a mismatch. And look, the single biggest factor here, and I really can't say this strongly enough, is the injury bug that has completely savaged the San Francisco 49ers. Losing your all-pro tight end, George Kittle, to a torn Achilles, that's not just losing a good player. That is like ripping the engine and the transmission out of your car. He is the heart and soul of their entire offense, not just as a receiver, but as maybe the best blocking tight end in the entire league. Without him, their whole offensive identity is just gone. Their firepower is critically and maybe fatally wounded. And think about what Kittle's absence means tactically. It's enormous. He demanded so much attention from the defense. Without him, the 49ers' entire offense pretty much boils down to one guy, Christian McCaffrey. So what does that mean? It means Seattle's #1 ranked defense, with its brilliant coaching staff, can make its game plan incredibly simple. They can dedicate extra guys, spy him with a linebacker, bracket him with a safety, just to stop McCaffrey, because they know there isn't another elite weapon on the field who can make them pay for it. For a defensive coordinator, it is an absolute dream scenario. Now, let's flip the script. What's Seattle going to do on offense? Well, they have the perfect, field-tested blueprint to absolutely dismantle this 49ers defense. And you don't have to look any further than that Week 18 game where they won the division. They physically mauled them at the line of scrimmage. They just imposed their will, ramming the ball down their throats for 180 punishing yards on 39 carries. They know they can control the clock, wear down the speed-up defense, and keep their own elite defense rested and fresh on the sideline. And this point right here, this just perfectly captures the two different directions these rivals are heading. While the 49ers are trying to plug massive holes with backups and just hope for the best, the Seahawks are reloading for a championship run. Getting their starting left tackle, Charles Cross, back to nearly 100%, that's not a small thing. That's a massive upgrade that solidifies the quarterback's blindside and, maybe more importantly, gives them that critical anchor for their dominant run game. A healthy Cross makes their offense even scarier. So, let's assume the Seahawks do what they're supposed to do and handle business against a banged-up, psychologically bruised rival. What happens next? Because the Super Bowl run isn't just about winning one game. This is where the path to glory, the road to that ring, really starts to open up for Seattle. When you look past this one game, the road ahead gets even clearer, and the obstacles, they start to look a lot smaller. Now, I know this is going to sound crazy to say in the NFL playoffs, but the road to the Super Bowl might actually get easier for Seattle after they beat the 49ers. How is that possible? Well, their other big rival, the Los Angeles Rams, the team a lot of people thought was the only other real threat in the NFC, is suddenly looking very, very vulnerable. And, dare I say it, beatable. They are not the same team they were a month ago. I mean, you don't have to be a genius. Just look at the evidence. The Rams were one defensive stop away from a shocking, humiliating playoff loss at home to the Panthers. They've been shaky for weeks, losing 3 of their last 6 games of the season. And now, their quarterback, Matt Stafford, is dealing with a pretty significant injury to his throwing hand. It is clearly affecting his velocity, and he can't make those tight window throws that their whole offense is built on. The Titan from the middle of the season is gone. This is a wounded, beatable football team. So let's just lay it all out. Here's the roadmap to a championship, and it's sitting right there in front of them. Step 1, beat your division rival, a team that's been completely gutted by injuries. Step 2, face your other main rival for the conference title, a team that's stumbling and injured and trending way down. Step 3, get to the Super Bowl and face what is let's be honest, a pretty weak and flawed field coming out of the AFC. The path isn't just possible, it is clearer and more manageable for Seattle than for any other team left standing. Now, before we get to our final thought, if you're enjoying this breakdown, do me a huge favor and smash that like button, and make sure you're subscribed to NFL Nexus for more analysis all postseason long. And hey, let me know in the comments, who do you think is Seattle's biggest remaining threat? Which brings us to one last absolutely delicious, almost poetic thought. This year's Super Bowl is being held in Santa Clara, California, at Levi's Stadium, the home of the San Francisco 49ers. With the path laid out so clearly, with all the matchups falling so perfectly in their favor, there is a very real, very distinct possibility that the Seattle Seahawks could end this incredible season by hoisting the Lombardi Trophy on their most hated rival's home field. Can you even imagine a more perfect ending? And hey, while you're picturing that incredible scene, why not support the channel? We've actually created some awesome NFL-themed coloring books that are perfect for fans of all ages. Kids, grandkids, even adults who need to de-stress. You can check them out using the link in the description or just by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. Thanks so much for watching.